For his insights on the Maharlika Wealth Fund is Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry President George Barcelon. George, thank you so much for joining us. Is this the right time for the country to have its own sovereign wealth fund?
Yes. Well, it is hugging the headline. We've been hearing different versions coming from both politicians and business sector. The issue at hand now is the sourcing of fund for the sovereign wealth fund. The other countries, normally their source comes from either resource base, they have trade surplus, like in the Middle East, they have oil. In other countries, they have a trade surplus. So we have to ask ourselves, where will the fund come from? Of course, after the pronouncement, it looks like the funds will be coming from our two big government agencies and also government bank, the SSS and the GSIS. So I'm sure that the government is aware that the investment in this fund, you have to be responsible because the centrality of the two agencies holds the pension fund of the people.
So, George, George, I'd like to jump in.
Yes.
So, in your view and in PCCI's view, is it right to draw funds from SSS and GSIS to form part of this Maharlika Wealth Fund? Yes or no?
Yes. So that's a concern. So I would like to put the concern in a way that maybe at this point in time, when there's really an uncertainty in the financial world outside because of geopolitical issue and recently the fiasco on the cryptocurrency, maybe we can put this, I think the government should put this on hold muna, like putting in the back burner and see how the situation improves and maybe study whether there'll be more source of fund that would not affect our pension funds. And also, one important thing is we have to take care of is that our credit standing now is pretty good. And that's important also because all the projects that key projects that the president did mention may require foreign loans. And having a good credit rating allows us to have lower rates in our loan.
And George, you mentioned about the volatility in the financial markets and of course the cryptocurrency scandal. And I mean, we just have to look here at home. The Philippines has had a history of funds mismanagement and scandals in the past. You had the Coco Levy, the PhilHealth scandal, and SSS funds being used for politically tainted stock purchases. I mean, we don't have to look far. Can we really trust the people who will be running this this fund with the people's hard-earned money?
Yes, Rico, regarding that aspect, I wouldn't speculate or second guess. Okay. When this was stated about the putting up this fund, the intention, of course, is good. Again, whether this will be well managed is another thing. No, you have to look you have to look whether we can get fund managers, both local. I mean, some of the banks here, I mean, are doing pretty well in their private equities. So whether there's a need for it and how much the putting up such a fund would benefit us, that is a question that I think the government should analyze and come to term. If it is not going to give us that much advantage, might as well invest our country. There are resources to be invested, and there are other sectors that can be looked into.
Because, I mean, if you take a look at countries with very successful sovereign wealth funds, you have the likes of Norway and Singapore, because you mentioned about surplus revenues. Is there an example of one country that is heavily in debt with more than $13 trillion, a country that has a budget deficit that has been successful with the sovereign wealth fund?
Nothing that I know about. I can't say I know a lot about this aspect of this sector because I'm not in the banking or financial sectors. But I can see even the best run equity fund like Norway or Singapore, they also took a beating.
Yes.
Because you cannot fight the headwind that's what we're experiencing now. Nobody expected that the geopolitical situation, the war there would be prolonged. Everybody thought in a month or two, but now it's still ongoing, and there's still the fear wherein the interest rate may go up. Of course, foreseeable. The Federal Reserve in the U.S. is saying that at least within the year there won't be any adjustment. But who can say for next year, because their inflation is still high. Similar to us, our inflation is still high, but we're beginning to see the tapering of fuel prices, which is good. And we're looking forward that hopefully by next quarter, the inflation will be lower than what is reported this time.
So, George, there are proposals from several sectors that instead of tapping into workers' funds for a sovereign wealth fund, why not tax billionaires and use their money for the Maharlika Investment Fund?
Well, the government has to be very persuasive to do that. Businessmen are aware that there are certain pockets of opportunities. Many businesses do have private bankers that knows how to allocate their funds based on the risk that they're willing to take. If you want to get more, you take more risk. But there's a downside to it also. So, but as far as the money that will be coming from from these two agencies, definitely we have to be very conservative, and at the same time, there should be total transparency in running a wealth fund like this. So, I would think after this being vetted, the government should, would take time. There's no rush to go into this, whether over a period of months or years. Put it in the back burner and see how things will play out.
George Barcelon, President of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, thank you so much for your insights on the Maharlika Wealth Fund.